everyone, and thank you for joining me here today on Vodcast. I hope everyone's had a great week and you're all keeping safe and well. What I'd like to say today is that every one of us are different. Everything around us affects us or has an impact on us, all very differently, whether it's fatigue or leading on to more serious health conditions, not only physically, but unfortunately, emotionally and mentally. How do we cope? How can we manage? And how do we build greater resilience against such triggers? Who do we turn to? Let's talk about it with me here today, SABIA KHATUN, your host. Firstly, I'd like to take you over to my wonderful, wonderful guests, and it's okay to not be okay is what we will be talking about. And I have with me, if I can firstly introduce Natalie King, who is one of the Confidence and Visibility Mentor in the UK. So welcome, Natalie, again on my show.
Thank you. It's great to be here again. I love it. I love being here.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for joining us, Natalie, again. And if I can take you over to another wonderful guest who has joined us all the way from Pakistan, and her name is Humera Qutb. She's one of head of mental health of an organization there. She's also a clinical psychologist based in Karachi. Welcome to the show, Humera.
Thank you so much for inviting me and for giving me this beautiful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. We shall hear a lot of valuable contributions coming our way shortly. I have, last but not least, my beautiful guest, Katie Glen, who I did have on the show again earlier, a few days ago. And she is not only one of the consultant therapists, but she will tell us a bit about mental health first aid, training and how it works, and some valuable contributions she can share with us today. So welcome again, Katie.
Thank you, SABIA, and it's really lovely to be here and with the other ladies as well. Such wonderful experts to be sharing with. Thank you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, ladies, we have, a lot that, we can share with our viewers today. What I would like to say that if we can give our viewers some insight into mental health and differences between mental illnesses and what the reality and stigma are around it, and also resilience and support, if we can try and cover as much as we can in the short space of time that we have. So I would like to actually start with Humera, if that's okay, our clinical psychologist. If you could kindly tell our viewers about what is mental health, and what is the understanding of mental health versus the mental illness? If you can share with us, that would be amazing.
All right. Okay. So when we talk about, we generally speak more about physical illness, and people in specific, they give more importance to physical illness, that how physical illnesses, they may affect our life. But what we do not know is that mental health is equally important, and we need to talk more about it. But at this point, first, let's understand that what do we mean by mental health? Mental health is basically something which is important, that allows us to function smoothly and swiftly, both in our personal life as and in professional life. When it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to in our our interpersonal relationship, how we can deal it in a much healthier way, in a much better way, how we can adapt and adjust in a particular environment. That's what we talk about in mental health. However, when a person is unable to do all these things regardless of what age group he belongs from, or from what socioeconomic background he belongs from. There is a possibility that numerous factors may influence the person's mental health, and they may start leading to various mental health problems which may become serious, leading to severe or different mental illnesses. And there can be various reasons behind it. We will be discussing that there are various, when we are saying that there are various factors, we need to take into consideration the role of both psychological and social factors that may lead to, or that may affect a person's psychological functioning and well-being. And there are also biological factors which may also play an important role. So yes.
Right, yeah.
Mm.
Is there, it'd be interesting if Katie and Natalie, if you ladies can add or, you know, mention anything on that.
I think it's really important for everyone to realise that we all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. Nobody would argue that we haven't, you know, we've all got physical health, that we can be in really good shape, we can be in so-so, and we can be ill, and it's the same with mental health. And that's one of the aims of the first step of the mental health first aid training. There's a mental health awareness course, which is all around reducing stigma, but part of that is getting people to understand that we all do have mental health, and whether we've got great mental health and really positive mental health, or we've got you know, it's kind of like on a continuum. So you can have great positive mental health, or serious mental health at the other end of that continuum. And it's not fixed in stone, depending what's going on in your life or your situation. That can move. And even somebody that has got a mental illness, it doesn't mean to say that they're always going to have that mental illness with the right treatment and support and, you know, those factors around them. So what's going on in their society, what's going on in their environment, and, you know, if they're being given that support with their social skills, etc. So it is movable. It's not, you know, and certainly here in the UK, you know, if you go back 100 years, there was a lot of stigma around mental health, and, you know, if you think of, for example, in the First World War, when soldiers came back and they had shell shock, they were seen as cowards. So of course they're not going to say anything about it. It was kind of hidden, and it was closed behind closed doors. People were sent to mental health or mental asylums and kind of locked away from society. So, you know, we have got a whole history of stigma around mental health that we wouldn't, you know, if somebody broke their leg, you wouldn't hide it, would you? But
before we go into the stigma side of it, I just wanted Natalie to sort of like give a little contribution on that. But yes, you know, this is all valid. This is all valid stuff. But we will get to that a bit more. So, Natalie,
Katie's passionate about her topic, which is great. You need to be. I mean, one thing is I work very much with mental health, and as Katie said, there's, you know, good mental health, medium mental health, and further on. But you can look after your mental health the same as you can look after your physical health. There's things that you can put into place to help you. And the last 6 to 8 months have really taken a toll on mental health as well as some physical health. But you can find ways that for you yourself, so it's not one size fits all, but everybody can find tools and ways that you can help your mental health when you know that you have a day that just seems to come at you from all sides. What can you do to help you to get through the day? What triggers you? What sets you off? What stresses you? How can you ease it? And there are things that you can do to put in place. It's the same as physical health. You can go to the gym, you can eat right, you can go for walks. And it's the same with mental health. I mean, even going for a walk is great for your physical health as well as your mental health. So there are things that you can do, and there's a variety of things. And it's not one size fits all. Work out what works for you. So yeah, it is. I can go on for hours as SABIA knows.
So. Thank you for that. Well, what I'm getting at is, you know, mental health, you know, can be good health, you know, and it should be good health. It's from what you're saying, it's the ability to learn, ability to feel, express, and learn how to manage in a range of ways. Turning those negative emotions into positive. But having that ability to form and maintain, the good out of whatever that it is that you're feeling. What I wanted to ask Humera, if you could share with us, is sometimes people can misjudge or label people by saying, well, hold on, that's a sign of so-and-so. So how do we see signs, and who is in a position to label people to say that sign means you are this? What signs are we looking for, and who should we really turn to say, is this what I am, or is this what I'm going through? Humera, if you can share with us something on that.
All right. So, talking about labeling or talking about stigmatizing, it is something that we have seen that stigmas and taboos and labels have been associated and attached to different,
Sorry,
mental illnesses.
Humera,
Yeah.
I can hear a bit of an echo.
Can you hear me now?
Still, I can hear a bit of an echo. Not sure what it is. If you speak, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I think it's still a bit of an echo there. Okay. If you talk now, Humera.
All right.
Yeah, it's better now.
Is it better now?
All right. It was like we were in a tunnel, and I can hear this echo coming back to me. Okay, it's fine now. Sorry, continue.
All right. So, talking about stigmatizing mental illness or associating labels and with people or to people, it is something that we can see is quite prevalent, not only in Pakistan, it is something that we can see in West as well. So, talking about mental health has never been easy actually. And people, if I specifically talk about Pakistan here, people initially, or if we just look back, we can see that years and years back, people, they had hard time talking about mental illness because the idea of accepting or talking about it was something not very easy for people. And so we can see here and now in recent years, because of psychoeducation, because of all these awareness programs, people are now understanding, instead of labeling someone, instead of using derogatory, labels for someone or calling names to someone just because they're not able to function smoothly, how about we offer them some help? And if you're not in a position to offer them any sort of help, perhaps we can refer them to any mental health practitioners. So I believe that nobody should use labels or attach stigma, but that perhaps will take some time, and people are developing that awareness. They are working day and night to create awareness among people, not to take mental health for granted, or not to make these people feel bad who who experience any sort of psychological disturbance or illness.
Yeah, on that, I wanted to ask Katie, are psychological issues same in both, obviously developed country to the developing country? We've heard Humera, who's from Pakistan, how, it's happening over there. How are we seeing the psychological issues?
Well,
the
in
environment
the UK,
that we are around, how would that differ in an individual?
Well, as Natalie mentioned, everyone is an individual, so different things will show up in different ways. But we know from the research, there's 1 in 4 people in the UK will suffer from some kind of mental disorder at some point, mental illness. It's estimated that in the workforce, there will be 1 in 3 people that suffer from poor mental health. So it's pretty prevalent in our society, and it's not surprising in the way that we run our lives. And obviously at the moment we're in a lockdown period, or different areas of the country in the UK are in different stages of that, and lockdown hasn't been great for people's mental health. But we'd be kidding ourselves if it was great before, because we put ourselves under so much pressure with work, juggling families, kids, older elderly parents, etc. It is not surprising that people suffer from stress, potentially depression, anxiety, because we're just under so much pressure. Young people have the pressure of, for example, like social media and the constant comparison. So there's all sorts of pressures that everybody is, a lot of people in the UK certainly are under, which will...
what about yourself, Natalie? Have you encountered or come across, people, your clinic clients, for example, having some sort of experience, psychologically?
Well, working a lot with, I work a lot with small business owners. It's the fear, and fear can be, it's not classed as a mental health issue, but it can be, because it can paralyze you. You worry about the situation. You're under an extreme amount of stress. I mean, will you have a job? Won't you have your job? And if you have been made redundant, can you get another job? What's going to happen if there's lockdown? How are you going to get work or find work or build a business? So there's all these factors that play in and sort of hit your head or your mind. And fear can be paralyzing. If you think about a deer in the headlights, and that's what a lot of people are feeling, this deer in the headlights. And then you want to have the fight or flight. That then sets in the adrenaline, but there's nowhere to go. We are literally told to stay at home. So you can't even just run and try and change your life through trying to find a different job or something. So you've got this adrenaline that's going, you've got the fear factor, and that's then causing this huge amount of stress, which then puts, all I can just say is deer in the headlights. If you've ever seen one, they just... So what do you do then? And that is what I work a lot with small business owners, to help them to see the future, to try and put in plans or ideas or something. And like I said, even if it's something of going for a walk, can just help to... It uses up adrenaline. You go out into nature, you're seeing different things, which is calming the brain down, which then means you can most probably come up with some ideas. And I know it's a really simple tool, and I will keep mentioning it, and I often mention it because
you're right, yeah. Because if I mention, even on for a normal person, countryside walks, the green, the nature, the soil, just connecting, you actually have to try that to feel that difference. I'm sure where Humera is, you're probably, I don't know whether you're around the town area of Pakistan, or whether the village area, but if you're in the village area, it's just amazing. You're around the greenery, and it actually does so much wonders. Even for us, when we just feel like having a walk, and and comparing the walk where the busy roads are, with the cars hooting and horning, to just trees and grass and birds chirping,
But it's not just walking in town as well, because what it's doing, like you said, the cars, and so you two in London and in a busy town in Pakistan, don't make the excuse, I'm not in the countryside, so I shouldn't go for a walk. Because even if you are walking on the pavements and dodging the cars and those bikes and pedestrians and buses, that is making your brain think about other stuff that's not part of the stress that you're going through. So what it's doing, it's making you focus on something else, which is, in a weird way, resting your brain. And so don't use, I'm in a city and it's big, loud and noisy, and therefore I don't need to go for a walk. That's not a good enough excuse. Go for the walk, But if you can get in the countryside, yes, of course, it's much more
Yes.
beautiful.
Well, I prefer it anyway. I think I don't know about you ladies, but for me, the green areas, does wonders. And yes, I do agree with you there, where you do get that distraction and gives your brain that rest, like you're saying. Yeah. So Humera, I mean, are you in the parts where there's more greenery, or what can you say about some of the factors that may have a better difference if one was having a walk in a busy, noisy road area, or a very quiet village area?
All right. Okay. So I would agree with what you just said, but here there are always more options that you can perhaps explore, and they can improve your mental well-being, such as a good healthy social circle, and spending more time, a quality time with your family members. Then again, even in our city, despite of the fact that there are a limited number of parks where people they go with their families and their friends, but there are other cities where the number of parks is relatively large. But besides going for walk, like I said, you can always socialize. There are book clubs where you can meet with a group of new people, interact. The more you will have a good, healthy discussion, that will definitely have an impact on your mental well-being. So what we need to do is that we need to explore more options rather than just giving excuses. That since I'm not living in so and so city or so and so country, therefore I don't have options. I rather believe that every city and every village, every place is beautiful in its own way, and it offers so many options to its people. And utilizing those options, using those options, perhaps we can improve our mental well-being. We can go to gym. We can make our environment more friendly, which will definitely have an impact on the rest of the people who are a part of the society who are living there.
Yeah, which brings us on to being in this pandemic that we are in. If you ladies could share with our viewers, the effect it's happening on the mental well-being, whether it's the health or the illness, unfortunately we are faced with it, and we have to find the best way that we can deal with it. Natalie, what can you, what are your thoughts on that, about the effects it's having on these individuals at this time?
Well, I mean, I agree, is building a social circle is great for mental health, but unfortunately we're not able to build a social circle, because we did have a period where you could rule of 6, and then that was taken away. So it has been very difficult, and what people are beginning to notice is the lack of physical contact. When you meet people, you shake hands, or maybe you hug, or you have some form of physical contact, and that is really starting to have an impact. If you live alone, you have no physical contact with anybody. And if you think, how many times do you hug your kids, hug your partner, or hug your friends or family members, just in greeting or as a farewell when they leave, or as a bye? But when you live on your own, that's been taken away from you. And then again, your family or your social circle has shrunk drastically, because you cannot be socializing like we did in February. So what do you do to compensate for that closeness that we have as human beings? And this is where we're starting to see the effects of sort of isolation from. So it's not necessarily a physical isolation, but it's almost a mental isolation. Is how do you start to break down that barrier? And this is something that I'm quite fascinated about, to see what's going to happen in 6 months' time, when we can come out of our houses, so to speak, and really start to socialize. How long is it going to take us to get back into the handshaking or the hugging or the French kiss on both sides? So that has taken a toll, and it's been great that we've got online, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, I mean, that's where I wanted to ask, what is the relationship between physical and mental health being. If I could get Katie to say something about that connection.
Yeah, I mean, every thought that you have has a physical reaction in your body. So like Natalie was talking about, when people are stressed and they go into fight, flight or freeze, they'll have a lot of adrenaline, cortisol running around their body. And if that goes on for too long a time, then that can cause issues later down the line. So, I think particularly with, in the UK, we've just announced today new lockdown procedures for certain areas that for some, what it would be a good idea for people to do is have a look at, right, what did they do in lockdown last time? What worked for them and what didn't? And do more of the stuff that did work, keeping connected with other people. And, there's been research around, this physical contact. Natalie mentioned that people with pets tend to fare better because they've got that physical connection.
Yeah.
And I think also it really depends on your situation. So people that are living alone, they're having a very different experience than, say, for example, the mum who's trying to do, potentially will do homeschooling if we go into full lockdown again, and trying to work from home and looking after elderly parents, etc., to the young person that's a student at university. So everybody's experience is going to be different. And there was quite into the beginning of the lockdown, some people's mental health improved because they were used to, they were very anxious, and it kind of gave them permission to stay at home and to hide without the stigma of it. So I think
without them feeling anything different, like, okay, hold on, I'm not going to get.
Yeah, or sometimes kids that have been bullied at school and now they don't have to, and they didn't have to go to school. It gave them
a
relief
for them, isn't it?
Yeah. So everybody's situation is different. So I think we can look back at what happened in the last lockdown, what worked for us, what didn't work for us. Because we're going to be going into the winter, again, it's, previously we could go out on the walk and get out in the sunshine, still do that, still go out, get that daily exercise. If you're physically able to, it's not just the benefits of going out and seeing the bigger picture. You're getting the vitamin D, which we all need for our immune systems, and particularly in Northern Hemisphere countries, especially if you go to sort of the Scandinavian countries, they have higher incidences of depression because they have less sunlight. So let's make sure we can try and get out in that sunlight. Make sure we're connecting with, if we're in a bubble.
Not enough vitamin D, I say. Yeah. Humera,
we all need our D.
Of course we do. Humera, how important is it to have a strong support system with all of this going on?
All right. So when we talk about pandemic specifically, last 6 months had been really, really tough for all of us. And specifically when we talk about Pakistan, we can see here there was a lot of uncertainty, which is something that we all have experienced. Regardless in which country or city you are living, there was a lot of insecurity and fear and anxiety. What will happen in the future? What will happen next? There were some people who unfortunately lost their jobs. There were some people who had absolutely no idea what to do next. In fact, even the children, they were asking their parents, will we ever go to school again or not? Because there was so much unpredictability and uncertainty that it was affecting actually everyone, every person belonging from a different socioeconomic background, kids, adults. Now, talking about social support circle here, we all know that a good, strong social support, which includes your family, your friends, people with whom you work, they do play a very significant role when it comes to your mental well-being. So in a country like Pakistan, where we have people belonging from different cultures, this pandemic, I would rather say, actually talking from a positive perspective, highlighting the positive perspective, it also gave us a chance to, sit with the family, spend some time with them, Of course, we cannot go out. We cannot interact with people around us in our neighborhood, in our colonies, in our societies and communities. But what we can do is that maybe perhaps we can, maintain that virtual contact with our cousins, with our relatives around. They can support us. They can comfort us that things will get better. Then people at work, there were some really good organizations who were kind enough to, you know, arrange sessions for their employees to comfort them that this will get over soon, you know. And I'm also a part of one of the such organization. So you see, social support plays a very important role, and we cannot undermine its significance. And we should also be a source of comfort for others, because maybe, you know, we can be a reason for someone's smile, we can be a reason for someone comfort, especially in this time when everything is so uncertain, where we don't know what will happen next, you see.
Yeah. Well, it's not the same though, is it? I mean, you know, if I can ask Natalie, I mean, it's really, or shall we ask our little cat guest there?
The therapy cat.
That's made me smart. But I don't feel it's the same. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. You know, it's just. I suppose we have to adapt to this new way of virtual, you know, talking, communicating with families and friends. But it will never be the same as having that warm hug from your parents, you know, your close ones, your loved ones. You know, how do we get to sort of like make that person understand who is not mentally stable? I mean, it's bad enough that, you know, we, you know, oh, sorry, excuse me for that. You know, it's like we as just in a normal everyday life, you know, I don't know what you defined normal people as, but you know, it's hard enough to sort of like feel it's the same, because it's not. So that individual who's going through so much, you know, havoc, so many things going round their heads, you know, how do we reassure, comfort that person, you know, to feel, you know, at this moment, we cannot be having that physical contact for a while. You know, how do we calm that situation? I don't know if Natalie can tackle that one.
Well, I was just going to go back to when you, from the beginning, and you were saying about having that, it's not the same online, it's not the same as on face-to-face. And it's not, because if you think, when you're talking with somebody face-to-face, your brain is looking at all the nuances that that person that you're talking to is signaling, little tweaks in their eyes, little their mouth might just shift, and they're nanoseconds, but you can't see that on camera. You can see how they're sitting or how they're standing. What are their arms doing? You can't see my arms now. You don't know what I'm doing with my hands. And this is what is losing the connectedness. This is what we get through people-to-people connection. So one way that I'm looking at is communicating more. So using verbal communication more, which is sometimes not that easy. It's you know, to really say, you know what, actually, I'm not having a good day because X, Y, and Z, or actually I'm feeling like this because of whatever reason. But that's a whole different challenge to say, where sometimes, oh, how are you? You might ask somebody and they say, oh, I'm fine. And you're thinking, no, they're not fine. So really, how are you? Because you've read it on their little nuances that their body has shown you, because your body language doesn't lie. The words lie. And that is something that we've lost for now. So one of the things I'm really trying to do is trying to get communication better. And it's not, I admit, it's not that easy. I don't like to do it. So how can I expect other people to do it? But it's just about encouraging it. It's saying, are you really fine? Are you really having a good day? Or do you want to tell me more about it? And then listening. And it comes down to the basic listening and waiting to see what they're going to say. And why it works if there's two of you. But one thing that you can do if you want to get somebody to maybe be more honest is keep quiet, because we don't like silence. So if you keep quiet, they're going to fill that silence up, and it will be how they're feeling usually. You can't do it when there's more than one of you, because somebody else will fill the silence up. But that's just a little trick in a way to see how somebody's feeling.
Are we saying, I mean, is it okay not to be okay? Hence, the title of the topic today. Or should we feel otherwise? Katie, if you can share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think all of us have times when we're not feeling okay, and that's actually normal. It's human. It's part of our human experience. And, for example, with the lockdown, the coronavirus situation, sometimes we have to just accept things for how they are, and we can change what we can change, but we can't change, but not to beat ourselves up around the things that we can't change, and we have to work with what we've got. So yeah, sometimes, if you've had a really long, stressful day and you've had lots of stuff to do, then, you're probably not feeling okay. And it's okay. It's okay to not feel okay.
Yeah,
it's
Humera,
normal. It's very normal.
Yeah, Humera, is it okay not to be okay where you are?
I would agree again with Katie here that again, we all go through different challenges and crises, and that's what makes us human, that we cannot be happy all the time, you see. We cannot be positive all the time. We experience sadness, we become anxious, we become stressed out. So it's completely okay not to be okay. But here I would just like to focus on one thing, that if you think that there is something bothering you, if you think that your daily life functioning is getting hampered because of whatever you are feeling and you are not able to manage, you are not, whatever you are doing and it's not working for you, perhaps that's the time where you need to take a good help from some professional. And the place where I'm living here in Pakistan, we do have some good, competent mental health practitioners who do offer their services and who were there actually, especially in this time of pandemic. And they were rendering their services. I'm sure they're in UK too. They were offering their services online. So sometimes again, and there are specialists, there are practitioners who are rendering the services pro bono as well, considering that how important it is. Besides that, again, we need to make our system, our homes more friendly, so that if somebody does not want to go out to a mental health practitioner, not because of the fact that they think that it's a taboo, they don't think that way, but rather they feel that they want that comfort in their family only or in their home only. So maybe that support, that I have a friend to lean on, I have a supporting family, and they are there. I know I can count on them. That's something that's more important. So it's okay not to be okay. That's what makes us human.
I mean, yeah. And, adding on to that, how does one speak to help someone with the mental health problem like depression and anxiety? If you can share something on that, Humera, and then I'd like to hear from Natalie and Katie as well about that. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to be more, we should be active listeners, you see, and we need to be more compassionate. Only then we would be able to see and to understand what the other person is going through with, you see. A lot of time we think that we are listening, but the fact is we are not understanding. So the best thing that we can do and we can help the other person is that we need to be more compassionate. We need to do what we call as active listening. We need to be more empathetic. Only then the person would be comfortable with you sharing whatever they are feeling, and then we can help them. Once we feel that the person has shared whatever they are going through with, if we can help them, perhaps we can do that. And otherwise we can refer them to any good mental health professionals, whoever is there in your society, in your area. But for that, the basic thing that we need to do is pay attention to the people. That is the best way to notice, that is the best way to know if the other person is going through any kind of problem.
Yeah. So, Katie, if you can, say something on that as well.
So, for example, if you have a friend, and remember, at this time, we are still able to go out and meet people outside. So you might want to suggest to a friend that if you're concerned about them or family member, maybe let's go for a walk, or go for a coffee, and somewhere where that person's going to be comfortable. And yeah, as Humera said, active listening, the sort of questions you can ask is, how are you feeling at the moment? How long have you felt like this? Where do you think you can go for some support? Is there anything going on particularly? So, and just being open to listen to those things. I think one thing that we haven't really touched on so far, we've talked a lot about family and friends. There are people out there that don't feel they have any family that they can speak with, particularly people that come from quite difficult family backgrounds, and may not have that support circle available. And there are resources, certainly here in the UK, that the Samaritans is a great organisation. If you're not feeling good, it's not about necessarily, you don't have to feel suicidal to call, but you can go and get that support and phone up and talk.
You're going
maybe
on
colleagues or friends. But it just, in terms of opening up those conversations, you can have them even if you haven't got that support yourself. You can get
that was my next
can I add
I was getting to on there.
All right, can I add one thing here?
Yes, go on.
All right. So adding to what Katie said, I do agree, yes, that there are some people who belong from dysfunctional families. They do not have good friend circle. So support circles, perhaps online, these are different support groups which are there online, on Facebook or other communities. They are there to hear you. They are there to help you. So if you think whoever is there to comfort you and listen to you can help you in the best way possible, don't stop yourself. Do go take help. Seek help whatever way it's convenient for you. I'm sure there would be more and more options available for people residing in other parts of the world.
I mean, that's exactly precisely what I wanted to find out from all of you ladies today, as in what different supports are available out there, whether it's from family members, friends, professionals. And the one thing I wanted to find out from you all also is there any, contacts or anything that whoever is going through whatever it is, that they feel that they want to do it anonymously. Is there any helplines or anything that we can share with our viewers today? Can anyone share anything with us today on it?
Katie had some stuff.
I just mentioned this.
Katie on there for us.
The Samaritans is an excellent organisation. You can phone them 24/7. They're there just to listen. So I've got a colleague of mine, she volunteers for the Samaritans, and people phone up with all sorts of things. So that's a great free support that people can have. There's your GP, which your GP be able to point you in the direction of some psychological therapy if that's what you need. And, pick up the phone, speak to, maybe there's friends that you haven't spoken to for a long time. I certainly remember at the beginning of lockdown, I just called up people I hadn't spoken to for quite some time. It was genuinely great to get in contact. So, and there may be local support groups as well, which are specific to, your local borough or local county.
Sure. I mean, I know I've got one number here. I mean, it is free from any phone as well. And if viewers would like to make a note of that, it's 116 123. That's 116 123. And it's free from any phone. So hopefully that could help some of you out there that you feel that you're not sure who to approach. There's also email if those who would like to email, and I mean, this is from one side. I mean, you can Google, there's quite a few, and these are 24 hours response times as well. So I've got one here that's jo@samaritans.org. That's jo@samaritans.org. .org. I mean, there are so many out there, you know, who provide listening, practical help, and I do hope that you know, you do get the right help that you need via, again, as you ladies have mentioned, whether it's family, friends, you know, or a professional. Yeah, so we are coming almost to the end of our show, ladies. I just wanted to find out, is there anything else that you feel that we could, we've missed out, or, you know, I know in such a short space of time we cannot cover everything in detail, but I think so far our viewers have got some good insight, I would say, you know, mental health and mental illnesses. You know, and how can we cope and how do we go about it? You know, any other ways that can this be managed? You know, if I can ask maybe Natalie first, and then the rest of you ladies can add on.
So like was mentioned sort of in the beginning, it's mental health is something that is good, medium, and all the way through. But what you can do to help yourself is you can look at therapies or hypnotherapy or talk to somebody. There's so many different skilled people out there who can help you to keep your mental health fit. So it's not necessarily a get a quick fix, but it might be a way, like you'd get yourself a gym instructor. It's just to help you get fit, or maybe give you some tools that can help you to cope. And it's not because there's necessarily anything wrong, but there's nothing wrong with just trying to look after yourself. You look after yourself with the food that you eat and taking the exercise for your body. So do the same for your mind. And there is a load of different skilled people with a variety of skills that can help you get your mental health fit so that you can cope and you can do things and find the ways that work. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yes. Humera, anything you could add on to that?
I just would like to add a couple of points here. Once you will start taking care of your mental health, you would be there for other people too. Otherwise, you know, your life will, if you are not feeling good, if your mental health is not good, it will be difficult for you to be there, to be available for people. So we need to check our priorities, that are we taking care of our mental health? Pay attention to your lifestyle, do certain lifestyle modifications, join a gym, take part in extra, you know, activities which can improve your mental well-being. Considering the present normal or the new normal, try to stay in touch with your friends virtually. Read more, do things which that can, you know, make you feel good and make you feel better. If you think that these are the things are not working for you, or they are just not enough, maybe this is the time where you need to seek professional help. And I'm sure we have great professionals out there in every city, in every country.
Thank you for that. Katie, last few things and thoughts from you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree and concur with that. You know, we do need to look after our mental health hygiene. And I think perhaps maybe after the show, there was a PDF that I sent over with 10 tips, which was from the mental health first aid training, the 10 keys for happiness. So it sort of covers all those tips about looking after your physical health, connecting with people. We're wired for connection. So even though that we aren't in a perfect situation, we can still connect with others and check in, whether it's on the telephone or Zoom or going for a walk with someone within the rules. We still can connect. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So
yes.
yeah, it would be great if we can share that with people. That might be helpful for them.
Definitely, yes. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming and giving your valuable contributions. You know, everything's been noted, and I really do hope our viewers out there have, you know, taken something on board, if not everything. And, you know, we hope that it can and it will make a little bit of difference, if not a lot, in their lives to get by. So again, I'd like to thank you all for coming and playing a very, very valuable part. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so emotional, mental health is crucial and it's important because it's vital that it's part of your life and it impacts your thoughts, your behaviors and emotions. Being healthy emotionally promotes productivity, effectiveness in activities such as your work, school, or as a carer. I hope we can better understand what mental health is after today and the differences that people experience of mental health as well as mental illnesses. Be kind, give a smile, and I hope you will all share this beautiful message out there and make a difference in someone's life. And when it is good and safe to do so, don't forget those hugs for your families and friends and loved ones, because sometimes that's all that they need. And I hope you will join me again on future podcasts. Do share this and spread and create that awareness for mental health out there. Let's reach millions of people. Let's make a difference, and join me with podcasts again soon. Bless you all and take care. Be safe.